Hi everyone, I'm Sandra. I am the face behind Origin Travels, and I'm going to take you through this mini course that I've created about hosting a retreat. It's one of the most frequently asked questions I get, and people are always curious about how to start hosting, how to improve their retreats, and how to fill and sell retreats. So let's get started here. This is just a quote that I thought would start us off on the right foot. A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never travel, and why we want to share those experiences with other people in our communities, and why do we go places? Why do we want to have these experiences? This course is for you if you're just thinking about running a retreat for your clients, your community, or your employees. You don't really know where to start. You've already got your retreat planned and you're ready to go, but you want to get your ducks in a row, make sure you've got it all covered. You've run a retreat in the past, but it could have gone more smoothly at any point. So if you feel like any of these are for you, then let's dive into it. Hi, that's me. I am an adventure junkie turned professional, 60-ish countries traveled. I've backpacked across various continents. I've lived and worked in Spain, Australia, all different places in Canada, and I've traveled in different styles from budget to middle travel to luxe. I've run over 30 group trips in addition to private and custom retreats for families, community leaders, and corporate organizations. And I have 10 years of corporate and agency experience, learning the ropes of marketing and gaining professional experience in travel. I am experienced in the travel industry and the trends, and I come from a corporate marketing background. So I approach things with strategy and understanding how to position your retreat to fill and sell. So we've got the logistics side as well as the marketing side. And from my own personal travel experiences on all ends of the spectrum, I feel like I can bring a good eye to all sorts of trips. This is me on a train, an overnight train, being a budget traveler. I know what it's like to stress about bootstrapping, planning when you're feeling underprepared or uncomfortable, surprised, but not in a good way while traveling, not having a night planned, or there's something that you really like have your heart on and it just didn't work out because that activity was full at the hotel or whatever it is. But I know what it's like, and I think that coming into travel is very important. We do want to leave some room for spontaneity, but you definitely want to have things kind of all sorted out, especially when you're running that trip for other people. And with all of those backpacking and travel experiences, mistakes I've made, which we could dive into in a different course probably. There's lots of them. But because of that, I'm now an expert on how to plan, feel confident, and have fun while traveling. We'll go over a few facts versus myths that people have about retreats and running group trips. If you build it, they will come. Meaning, if you create this retreat, it's amazing. People will just book it. This is a myth. Filling a retreat is hard work. And this is one of the first mistakes that I always see people make. They think they'll post it on their Instagram one time, it'll fill up. If it doesn't, they get disheartened and they just give up. But it doesn't really work that way. There's so much noise. Marketing statistics say that somebody has to see something 7 times before they purchase or even like think about purchasing really. So you need to be in front of people and you need to be positioned for filling your retreat before you even get to the point of launching. So there's steps that you can take to make sure that your business is ready and in a good place to offer a retreat and that it's something that your people want. People would rather dedicate their vacation days to vacation, not work. I can't compete with relaxation. This is not true. There are people who want an all inclusive, they want a vacation, they want to relax. And there are other people who would really like to do something different in their time off. There's some people who have more time off than others, and maybe they have space in their year for both types of experiences. But this is not to say that you are competing with a vacation. You are offering something completely different. And there are people who want that and are looking for that. So you need to think about what would they get out of it? Why would somebody choose this trip? You're worth it. Their time is worth it. And you just need to, hone in on what that is. So in the next couple of slides, we'll get clear on what is a retreat and why should you run one? Are you ready to run a retreat? And 7 must-know tips for hosting a successful retreat. A retreat is an outing for your clients that allow you to connect and engage with them outside of their daily life. And this can be used the same way as group trip. You're offering something different, something where people can break out of their day-to-day, out of their routine, and experience something different than what they have in their daily life. And this provides you such an amazing opportunity to connect with your community in a different way when you always see them in the same kind of setting. It's great to break out and even for each other. If you think about your community and what builds a strong community, and part of that is their own relationships with each other, and a retreat can play a phenomenal role in that piece of community building. Part 1, why you should host a retreat or a group trip. You're using these the same way. 1, the power of disconnect is to connect. You want to build a connected community. You want people to feel connected to you, connected to each other, connected to themselves. In this busy world that we live in, it kind of like on the surface, I guess, seems like everyone's so connected all the time because you're constantly accessible on your phone. You bring your laptop home from work, but in the grand scheme of things, people are feeling lonely. People are feeling disconnected. They feel like everything is virtual, and people are really craving that deeper connection that goes beyond the small talk that you engage in at the office. It goes beyond your day-to-day conversations with your partner about what's for dinner and who's picking up the kids. Like, we want this space on a retreat to have those deeper, more meaningful connections. So pause this video, ask yourself, what feelings or accomplishments do I hope to instill in my clients during this retreat? And how can an intimate and extended period with my services help my clients engage and grow, or change and grow? What do you hope to accomplish? What do you want them to feel and come out of this trip with? And that can be anything. It can be anything related to your business. It can be taking what you already do in your business practice for your clients and what problem you're already solving for them, but elevate it to another level on a retreat or a group trip. And an intimate extended period with your services, that's incredible. That is such an incredible gift of connection to your community, of taking that time, and not just time, but time that's valuable, that's quality time where they're not thinking about their next to-do task list on their to-do list. They're not thinking about their day-to-day responsibilities. They are fully away from that and can really truly engage with you. And how can you use this time? How can the goal would be to have someone that's like in your circle, right? Converting all of these people to be people who are in your circle. And my absolute biggest measurement of success, I guess you could say, is when people send me a picture that they are traveling with somebody that they met on a group trip, or have met up with somebody that they met on a group trip. And I love that those friendships flourish and they continue to grow, because that means they connected with somebody on the trip. And then my other big win that I'm always so stoked about is when somebody comes back. We always want people to come back. We want to build communities where people are engaging with our content, are responding to our emails, are booking our services, ultimately, and coming on our trips. And for me, if I have somebody come on a trip and then they come on another trip, that's my biggest win. And that means that extended period of time with me and my experience for them meant something. So take a couple of minutes and think about what this looks like for you. Number 2, you're leveraging a new environment to facilitate and support learning. This really can just span so far, but a new environment can teach you so many different things. You're being opened to you and your clients and your community, or whoever you're taking on this trip, on this retreat, are being exposed to something that you don't see in your day-to-day. And this is so powerful and one of the most powerful tools of travel because it exposes us to things that we're not used to and puts us a little bit outside of our comfort zone. But it makes you think about your own life in a different lens, and that can be so powerful. And people come back from trips and they're like, they've got revelations, they've got new things that they learn, new skills that they want to learn. For example, I had a client who came on a group trip to Costa Rica and then wanted to take up yoga and then told me she signed up for a yoga studio after. And that's just one simple example. And it can go so much deeper than that and so much further than that. But that is one of the powerful, powerful things of travel. Best way to learn is to do. Immerse yourself in that, get the experience. Number 3, meet your people. This kind of goes back to what I had been saying previously. You want to, and this slide specifically is a little bit more towards the business owners or corporate if you want to host retreats, and then we'll get to the other side. But you get the opportunity to take them off site, understand what they're thinking about, what they like, what they don't like, maybe get some feedback, have some honest conversations, facilitate cross-company connection, camaraderie. What makes people like, you want people to stay. You want longevity, you want retention. People will be happier if they like the people that they work with, feel that they're connected to them, feel that they're connected to you and your business and your overall goals. You want those deeper connections between your employees. You make them feel appreciated and recognized, and you can organize or coordinate activities that allow for some creativity, out of the box thinking. It could spark ideas. This kind of time away from the office can spark creative ideas. Like, I feel like every time I come back from a trip, I feel full of creativity, all new ideas. You're in a different space, you're getting inspired by different sights and sounds and experiences and just the things that you're doing and you're seeing, and all of those things can happen on a corporate retreat. For you, if you want to host retreats for your clients, and this can be any kind of client, depending on what your business is, but you want to have a deeper understanding, or you have an opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of their personality, their needs. Again, a space to have honest conversations. You can learn about their life. You can feel like outside of work or outside of how you know them when they come to you at your studio or whatever it is. And you can kind of learn maybe how to extend your services in other areas to them. If you're a community leader and you want to do more, you want this additional piece of your business, you can create real relationships. Turning followers into friends is just kind of, I feel like I've made a lot of friends through my group trips, and that's been really special. You can monetize your travels, travel for free, of course. This is for any community leader. This is a additional potential stream of revenue. Opportunity to capture months of content. We all struggle. Maybe we don't all struggle, but some of us struggle with getting enough content and making things look fun and making your business look active, building brand identity and shifting perspective from online persona to a leader and a host. These types of experiences or this special time away can really put you in their mind of being the host or the leader, or this kind of you know your business, and they'll always think about you after if they're looking for that service of whatever you offer. They see you, they kind of feel more connected to you, more loyal to you, and building long-term experiences people can look forward to. There's no better feedback than when someone tells you that that trip was the best part of their year, or it came at a time where they really needed it, or they had always dreamed about doing this type of experience and you made it happen for them. That's incredible. If you want to do something bigger around wellness and movement, this allows you to get out of your studio, go somewhere different. You can create a well-rounded experience that incorporates what you teach in your studio typically, but takes it somewhere else. Again, strengthening your community, and this often leads to a higher retention in your regular classes or programs. And You can create another income stream, just like before, an opportunity to share your life, form bonds with your community that go beyond your shared interest in fitness, build a bit more of like a deeper connection to them. 4, nurture your community and allow them to nurture each other. This we've already touched on. It's just such an amazing opportunity and a unique one to spend that time with your community, allow them to form friendships with each other, deeper connections. And word of mouth is, we all know, word of mouth is one of the most powerful ways of growing your business. And experiences like this can really solidify that you and your business to the people who come on your retreat. They're going to tell their friends, they're going to bring a friend, and it just grows from there. So community, nurturing each other, nurturing your relationship with them, so key. Profit, of course. We're all running business to make money. So retreats can be a really great stream of revenue if priced correctly. This is something to dive deeper in at another time, but just something to kind of think about. It can also serve as a generator for future income, recurring business with existing clients. So that's kind of what we talked about already in the last couple of slides of building that loyal customer base, recurring business, having people come back, referrals where they bring more people to your business. That can all come from that. That obviously equals profit. And pricing things correctly on a retreat can be an additional revenue stream for your business. So, do you want dedicated time with your clients or employees without the distraction or time limits? This goes back to that breaking out of your day-to-day, no distractions, people are on their phone less, people don't have their typical responsibilities and tasks list going on. So you get that really good quality, valuable time with them. Get to know your people more intimately and strengthen your connection with them. There is no better time to form unbreakable bonds than on a trip. There's always, cultural differences and different, you're just having fun, you're traveling, and things always happen, and inside jokes form, and you're experiencing all these new things together and with each other. And those are things that people never forget. These are experiences that they will literally remember forever. They look back at their photos, they think about it often. It's just truly so memorable. Additional stream of revenue, build your community. That's essentially one key thing, another offering to your community, something different. Use a new and interesting environment to dynamically implement your teachings. This is that same kind of breaking out of your day-to-day, doing something different, incorporating cultural experiences, or, if you're all about movement, then you've got this new playground to play in. If you are into wellness, you've got a new background to teach at. So any of that makes things fun and dynamic. So if you answered yes to any of those above questions, then a retreat or a group trip can be transformative for your business, but it does need to be done right. There is so much that could go wrong, and that's what people say all the time. Others are overly confident and don't prepare, and then things can go wrong, of course. Someone can get hurt, you can lose money, people don't like it, no one books, clients miss their flights, your services don't show up. All of that is real. Those are all real concerns, real possibilities. But they shouldn't stop you from moving forward. It can be very intimidating when you think about all of the logistics involved and all of these things, things that are out of your control, essentially, but still in your control because you can prepare for it and you can execute an amazing experience for your clients and your business with proper planning and tools. You can be successful, you can nurture your community, you can make profit, and you can have peace of mind. So you got to get your ducks in a row. Are you ready? We'll just go into part 2 now. 7 things that you need to know about planning a retreat. The 6-month rule. I always recommend that you make sure you launch your retreat at least 6 months from the day that you depart. Sometimes a little bit more depending on when deposits and things like that are due, but 6 months typically gives people enough time to plan and save. At this point at launch, I also recommend that you should have already been kind of putting feelers out there and have a good idea that people do want to go on a retreat with you on a group trip. So you're not just springing it on them. You've planted some seeds, you've talked to people, but generally 6 months. Some people say that they feel like that's too close to the date and that makes them a little bit nervous. But in what I've noticed from the last few years, like I'd say since the pandemic, people book things way more last minute. Like I have literally had international group trip departures to places like Morocco and Belize, people messaging me a week before wanting to go. So way more last minute, which kind of sucks for us as the planners on the other side, because you're getting close to the date, you're wanting your trip to be full. My absolute ideal scenario is I launch a trip and it's full within a couple days. I can pay all my deposits and I'm good. But unfortunately, life is a little messier than that. So it doesn't always go that way. But 6 months, I find, is a good sweet spot. Be aware of the laws. You want to make sure that you are legally selling your retreat to customers. So a lot of people think that you can just sell a trip because you're a certified business, you've got your business licenses, but it's just not the same. It's kind of like offering legal services if you're not a lawyer, or if you just randomly, I guess, started offering to, I don't know, I can't do accounting for people and you're not an accountant. So you need to be making sure that you're selling your retreat legally. Each state, province has different rules. In Ontario, and different governing bodies. In Ontario, there's TICO, the Tourism Industry Council of Ontario, and they make sure that everyone selling travel in Ontario is legally allowed to sell travel. If you are caught selling a retreat without the assistance of a registered seller of travel, such as myself, you could be fined, and there is also jail time involved for some people. You can find that information online of whose businesses they've shut down, but there are major fines and also restrictions around running your business, which could last several years if that ends up going that way. So you want to make sure that you're safe. This is all to protect the consumer. It's a service and not a tangible product that people can see. So they want to make sure that consumers are getting what they pay for, that everyone who's operating and selling businesses or selling travel is doing it transparently and accurately, and that what people are booking is what they're actually getting. So that's the main goal of it. You don't need to go through the whole process of getting certified. And if group trips or retreats are not your main business, I don't recommend going that route. You certainly can, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of money, and there's just like a lot of hoops to jump through. So you can opt to work with someone who is TICO certified or whatever it is in your area. Know what the risks are. Hosting your clients outside of your regular space. Make sure you have the appropriate insurance for your business and your clients. I work with insured operators, so they cover that side, and then you would need to cover the business side. So, anything like if somebody went on the trip and then they come back and tell you that they want a refund because they didn't like it, anything like that. So you just want to make sure that you're in a position and insured and safe. Oh, and I also always tell clients that that insurance on their end is mandatory as well for any travel that you're doing. So you want to make sure people are getting that communication that it is their responsibility to purchase travel insurance when they're coming on this trip. Ask people what they think. You can't guess what your clients want. You probably have a good idea, but just talk to them. Ask them through social media, ask them in conversation. Would they be interested in taking a trip? What kind of trip would they take with you? What's their budget for travel? You can even do like a survey to your audience. I've recommended people do that. You could just get a good idea through conversation in your day to day, but figure out what they want, and then you'll have a good idea of the direction you want to take your trip, and maybe even like destination, budget, very important, like what you want to be targeting so people actually come, how many days would they want to go on, what time of the year is best for them. I have some clients who get a lot of teachers on her trips, so she always does them in the summer. You want to know these things. Know who your competition is. There's so many group trip companies, so many retreats being offered out there. What's different about you? Price your product accordingly. What are they offering? Who's their target market? Where do you fit into this big puzzle piece? Know your numbers. Having clear goals on costs and profit will help keep you on track. What's your personal cost of running this retreat? And that's not just the money, but you're taking time away from your desk. That costs you time, that costs you working on other client work. But having all those numbers in a crunched out spreadsheet's really great. How many people do you need to get on the retreat to break even to profit? Are you willing to run your first one at profit or at a break even or at a loss, because you want to kind of get the wheels spinning, get going, get your feet on the ground, but figuring out what your goals are for your first retreat, first, second, all of them. Really great spot. Engage. This is where a lot of people fall off. Regular, consistent engagement is key. You want people to care about your retreat. And it's going to be hard when they don't remember why, or they don't remember at all. So marketing, regular, consistent messaging that aligns with your target audience. And again, this is something that would need a whole other course, but also something that we can work on together is how to market the retreat. Like I said at the beginning, you can't just post it one time on Instagram and people are going to come. It doesn't work that way. So lots of work in ironing out what your messaging is, what makes your trip different, why should people go on it, and figuring out how to have those two-way conversations with our community. And part 3, what is TICO? TICO is relevant to those who are operating their businesses in Ontario. If you are outside of Ontario, this is still a good to know because your region probably has something similar. TICO is the Tourism Industry Council of Ontario, like I said. So BC, for example, has a separate one. In the US, there's also separate ones. So they are regulating travel services in the province, accommodations, transportation, travel packages. And like I said, this is to protect consumers in travel, create a fair, competitive landscape. It's like any industry, you cannot operate without a license. People need to be regulated to create good business, and we want to make sure that customers are getting what they book. So a lot of what TICO focuses on is the way that things are marketed and the way that payments are taken so that it's fair and transparent. Do you fall under TICO? If you collect payment that includes lodging, you've booked accommodation under your name, you sell rooms or accommodation to the attendees, you're running retreats for your business and for profit. So this obviously does not include if you planned your family vacation. This is different. It's different when it's for your business. You may not fall under TICO if you are only charging for the facilitation programming of the trip and participants book their own accommodation. So for example, if you were doing a yoga retreat and they are paying you for the yoga class, but they are booking their own accommodation, your program's only 1 day. If there's no overnight component and there's no transport included, then you don't need to worry about TICO. But anything outside of that would fall under TICO rules. So you can register yourself in your business, or you can work with a TICO registered advisor, or you need to structure your retreat differently. So some examples here, you can do a 1-day retreat where people drive themselves or get themselves there. You can have them pay if you are doing, like, let's say it's one night, it's near where you're based, you can get people and they're driving themselves, they get there, you can get people to send the money for the lodging directly to them, the hotel or the Airbnb or whatever it is, and then have the rest be sent to you for your services. I recommend doing this. It gets very, I feel like it just doesn't look as professional when you're breaking up, like, oh, this is how much your portion is for accommodations. This is how much you're paying me for food and whatever. I think it looks much cleaner and much more professional if you just have it structured as one fee for the whole trip. This is what's included. And then registering yourself is an option. This is, like I said, a lot of work. There's a lot of money. There's things you need to be doing every single year to continue your or to keep your registration. So that is something you can look into if it's of interest, or you work with someone who's TICA registered. Compliance. So ongoing regular inspections are conducted by TICO every year. If you're running retreats and you're not registered, or you're not working with someone who is registered, you could be subject to high fines, jail time, losing your business. They can audit at any time. People can report you to them, and then they'll check on it. And it has been happening more frequently in the past, let's say, like a year or so. If you look at their website, they also have kind of like a rolling press releases of the businesses that they've been inspecting and the outcome of that. But yeah, so I can get audited at any time. I am TICO registered, both myself and my business, which is another requirement, is you as an individual need to be registered. Your business also needs to be registered. So yeah, they can audit me at any time, and they have. They will, and what that can look like is they can ask you to send your books for the month, and your books need to be set up according to their regulations, and that all needs to be good. They can kind of ask you to show any paperwork at any time, and yeah, just regular audits for compliance. So behind the scenes, this is all very confusing to many people. It was very confusing to me at first as well. There's so many rules, and it feels like it's not super clear on their website. But I have gone through the courses, passed the test required, put down the deposit, which then gets put into their compensation fund, and it's kept there for 2 years by them. You have to pass all of their inspections and requirements in order to get that deposit back after 2 years. We are subject to random audits. I have accounts and paperwork done regularly to comply with their requirements. I pay the annual fees to remain registered. I work with an accountant who understands TICO account requirements and make sure that's all good. And I provide consultation services to retreat hosts. Just like running a business, there is unfortunately no handbook for running trips. But you can feel confident that you have what it takes. If this is something you've been dreaming about, it's possible, and it can happen. What does your dream retreat look like? We can always hop on a consultation call, get the wheels turning. I am always happy to answer any questions you have about running retreats. And thank you so much for joining. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you can bring your dream retreat to life, and would love to be part of that journey. But yeah, I would love to see what comes next for you all. Reach out anytime. Thank you so much for coming. Bye.